Right Balance podcast. I'm Diane Wright, your host. Here is where I'd like to share stories and interviews with leading practitioners and coaches, all under the health and wellness umbrella. We'll be including holistic therapies, inspirational people, and a vast array of experts to help you get on the right path. Join me every week for advice and information that will offer help and support, because we all need the right balance in life.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're well, and I hope you're enjoying this, hopefully, summer weather coming shortly to our country. This is coming to you from the southwest of Scotland, actually. And today I've got a lovely lady with me, Joan Frew, who has served as a psychic and a medium for several years, is passionate about our work, and I can truly say that as well from the heart, and feels blessed to be an ambassador and a voice for spirit. Over the years, she's devoted herself to personal and spiritual development with experienced both teachers and mentors throughout both the Arthur Findlay College and the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre, which are both in Edinburgh. She's accomplished all sorts of things, but a very good spiritual teacher, a crystal and Reiki and sound practitioner, and also an energy healer. She regularly teaches workshops at the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in Edinburgh. And for Joan, the ability to help others to heal as important as her mediumship. She does phenomenal work with crystals and leads several popular spiritual development classes and workshops in Scotland and England, which we'll get onto towards the end and show you where Joan's going to be. She has enabled many people to discover their own connection to spirit and help them on the spiritual path. Joan loves to educate and considers herself as a spiritual teacher as much as a practicing medium. Welcome, Joan. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have you here. Today,
thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Today is all about crystal therapy, which I have touched in, and I've worked with a little bit of crystals, not to your extent, and they are fascinating. I wonder if we can start right at the beginning, Joan, and explain to our listeners about how your path or journey actually began.
Yes, of course. Actually, can I just say, first of all, the Arthur Findlay College is down in Stansted in London, and the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre is in Edinburgh. Sometimes people get them confused. How I started, wow. Always as a child, I have loved stones, and I picked them up on the beach or out in walks, and I've collected them and sat them on windowsills and different things. So I've always had a resonance with stones. And it's really interesting that when I did my family tree, going back right to the 1700s, with the exception of my father, all my grandfathers were miners. So the connection to the earth and touching what comes out of the earth is really in my bones and in my DNA, and I'm very proud of that.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
So I think that's part and parcel of my deep connection with the earth and the stones that come from it. And one of the things that I was given from a crystal when I was holding it was that crystals are our gift from the earth, and how we use them is our gift to the earth.
Wow.
And that had quite a profound effect on me also.
Yeah.
So I value them. I started, I suppose, my spiritual journey when I attended the Scottish Spiritual College on a week retreat. And that really opened my eyes up to lots of different things and different aspects of spiritual work, healing, and everything associated with it. And I just fell in love with crystals. And there's the thing about being conscious and being unconscious, not aware of. So I always had a crystal in my purse for years and years and years. And it was a tiger's eye, which is a beautiful crystal. It's very silky to touch. It flashes. It's a very long association with protection and grounding. It gives you a power. And one of the sort of famous authors says that in every tiger's, I'm actually holding one just now, in every tiger's eye there is the soul of a tiger. And that really, yes. So that's why I'm holding one just now, to give me that confidence, to keep me grounded so that I don't talk too fast. So they're fabulous. You use them in your everyday life. And if you just think of the earth contains all these crystals, and more are coming out, and more new ones are coming out. And I think it's because we need them. And crystals you can use just for their aesthetic beauty. You know, you can have them in your home, you can just have them sitting there. But one of the fabulous things that crystals does is they have great energy, and their energy can heal, calm, soothe, or give you that bit of confidence depending on how you use them. So when you first, sorry, you have a question?
No, go.
Right, okay. So when you first buy a crystal, you don't choose the crystal chooses you. And sometimes you'll look at a crystal, and I have sold crystals for years, and I've seen this happen on numerous occasions, where people come, and there's literally hundreds of crystals on my table, and they'll choose one, and they'll say, did that wink at me? Did that flash? And it is, the crystal is going, come by me, you need me, because it's working on an energetic level. And every crystal has its own vibration, it has its own meaning for healing and for connecting with your energy. Now, most people associate the colours of the crystals with the chakras within the body, but actually don't be constrained by that.
Okay.
Never be constrained by that. Go with what your gut tells you, what your intuition tells you. And crystals are great for if you're going through stress. There's specific ones that you would use depending on what your stress is. If you're completely overwhelmed and very low in mood, I would suggest black tourmaline. It's fantastic. It gives you a strength, it gives you a confidence, and it kind of really, it's good for supporting your energetic field, which is we all have around our bodies. And when that gets depleted, we get depleted. And when we physically get depleted, our energetic field gets depleted, because everything works, you know, everything's connected. So, but if you had very high anxiety and you were like agitated more with your stress, I would recommend something like scholasite, which is a white crystal. And as soon as you hold it, you feel that tug. It just pulls you back into yourself. It's quite a physical feeling, and it's beautiful. So there's crystals for everything, for joy, for happiness, for working on pain. There's specific crystals for pain as well. Petrified wood's very good if you have physical pain. It's a good crystal to use, as is another one called Arthur Conan, which is actually a fossilized crystal, and it has really ancient squid in it, so it's black with little white markings on it, and it's fascinating. But they all do different things. When you first come to your spiritual journey, most people are attracted to amethyst. And actually, I have a beautiful piece here, which I'll just hold up and let people see. So this is amethyst in its rough form. And this would be known as a bed. But, and you can put your jewellery on that to clear your jewellery. And also to have a piece like that in your home, it sends out beautiful energy, because crystals are transmitters. They transmit and they receive energy. So the black crystals tend to absorb energy, and especially if it's around you and it's not so positive, but they'll transform it and they'll admit it. So if you think of years ago, for those who are of a certain age, like the crystals that are in the old radios and things like that, those are industrial crystals, but they're used for that same purpose. And we still use them today. Your television, your phone, we are surrounded by crystals all the time.
I didn't know that. My goodness, every day is a school day. I love that.
Absolutely.
I never knew that at all, Joan. So the purpose of crystals in general is to balance our energy field. Is that what I'm picking up?
Absolutely.
And if something is overstimulated, we can calm it down. If it's understimulated or we're feeling a bit low, we can use that vibration to bring it back up again. Oh,
yes,
wow.
Very much so.
One thing I want to ask you, this is a personal question, is you showed me that beautiful piece of amethyst in its rough form. I personally like the more rough base stones rather than the polished. I know you can get polished in heart shapes of rose quartz, etc. Is there a difference between the polished and the rough stones that you can get?
Yes, I believe there is. Some people may or may not agree, but I believe there is. I think there's a different energy associated with them. So, for instance, this is a polished stone, and I'm just looking, and that's rough. That's not been polished. That's not been adapted. So, tiger's eye, you can get it in its rough form, but when it's polished, what a crystal is doing is smoothing the edges. So when you hold it, it's calming, it's soothing you, whereas something in its rougher form is maybe getting more to the nub of things.
Yeah.
So it's different. So in my healing therapies, I may use a combination of rough and polished stones, but generally I would use a polished stone, and that's because I want the therapy to be smooth. I want it to be gentle. I don't want to create a healing crisis for people. I want the therapy to be smooth and transitional and transformative.
Yeah.
So when I do my therapies, I'll just go into that, is that I will use stones on and around the body. And when you come to me for a crystal treatment, I will ask you and this is prior to you coming, I will ask you, what do you want to work on? What's going on in your life? And then I will select the crystals intuitively for you, and I will clear and program them. So when you clear a crystal, by and large, you can run them underwater just for a few moments, but certain crystals that you can't because they're more fibrous and would break. I actually have developed my own crystal spray, which is this one, which is Be Clear, and it's made from crystals. And it does, so I would just, that's that crystal cleared, and it completely changes the energy, because the energy gets stagnant and stale. Yeah. You all have it in our home. So that spray would clear a handful of crystals. One spray would clear a handful of crystals. You can use it to clear your aura as well. Wow. You can use it to clear the energy in your car, or if you have a therapy room, to clear the energy before and after, and it's instantaneous. And it's fabulous to work with.
Oh, wow. Because some people talk about, and I know I was told years and years ago, to put them in the moonlight, or on a new moon or a full moon, or in salty water, that could cleanse them as well. What's your view on that, on them sort of things, Joan?
I struggle with the salty water, because if a crystal has, like, you would never put that near salty water, because, salt can destroy it, but also the water can get trapped in little crevices and actually damage the crystal. So I prefer not to use salty water.
Okay.
Some people put them in the earth, which, if that's your choice and that's your culture, then that's absolutely fine. But if you put them in the earth, put a little stick beside it as to where you put it, because trust me, they move.
Yeah.
Even though you put them back in the earth and you go, I've put it right there, put a stick in, because I was told that years ago that I had a very special crystal, and I was told to put it in the earth. And at that time, I didn't have the knowledge that I do now. So, like everybody, we kind of do what we're told when we don't feel confident. Buried it in the earth, and then I couldn't find it. And I damaged it, taking it out, because it wasn't where I left it.
Oh my goodness.
So they move.
It's absolutely fascinating, the whole crystal story. I want to go back if I can. So when somebody actually has an in-person treatment with you, Joan, for crystal therapy, you've mentioned that you'll ask them about which areas they would like to work on, etc. And then can you just explain what happens when people come for a treatment into the treatment room, just in case people have never, ever had it before?
Yes, of course, not a problem. So first of all, I would work on both the physical and the emotional body that's going on with you. When you come to me, you're fully clothed. The only thing you would be asked to remove is your shoes and your outer clothing, i.e. a coat. Other than that, loose, comfortable clothing. I would ask you to lie on a therapy bed, although if you have mobility problems, I would ask you to sit in a chair. and I would give you a mask to put on, an eye mask. And that's for no other reason than to help you relax. And so that you're not lying going, where is she? Is she down there? Is she over there? Because I will move round the therapy bed. But if you don't want to wear a mask, it's not compulsory. But that's the only reason I would ask people to do it. I would talk you into a little relaxation process at the beginning, just to help you relax. And I would then place the crystals on and around you, and I would play some very nice gentle music. And the therapy would last approximately an hour. Sometimes it's maybe 5-10 minutes early. It depends on, at that point, I'm really working with the crystals, and I'm working on what they're giving me and my own healing and intuitiveness of the energy that I'm working in. So approximately an hour. And then when you're finished, I will talk you back, because most people fall asleep and can go into quite a deep state of relaxation. And then after that, I would talk you back, and I would help you to, I would give you a drink of water. I'm saying help you because sometimes you can feel quite spacey and you're like, oh, what was that? So afterwards, I would always give you a cup of tea, herbal tea, and a biscuit tea. And that's because most people drive to me, and I want to make sure that you are perfectly grounded back in your body before you get into a very powerful vehicle.
And how does is there any sort of, obviously not naming names, but is people experienced what they feel during the treatment? What, I'm not saying the norm, because everybody's unique, but is there any particular things that may happen during the treatment?
A deep feeling of relaxation, beautiful images is one of them. Perhaps an insight into something that's going on in their life. Most people feel subtle changes because it's energetic changes rather than maybe a physical change, but it's an energetic. Most people, in fact, I don't think I've ever had anyone not say afterwards, wow,
yeah,
what was that? Because it's such a big shift for people.
Yeah.
So I've had clients who maybe have had lupus, and they've came to me when they're having an attack of lupus, and it hasn't cured the lupus, but it's stopped the attack. It's like arrested it, if you know what I mean.
Oh my goodness.
And same with people who have fibromyalgia, who are going through quite a bad time. They have came to me and I've worked with them, and their symptoms have decreased. Doesn't make cure the fibromyalgia, but it does lessen the symptoms.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've had people come to me when they're utterly exhausted, and they've just felt revitalized. I would normally check in with you about 2 days later. I would send a text and I would just say, just checking in that you're okay and that you're doing okay. You normally have a great night's sleep. I would say to people, please drink plenty of water, because as you know, as a therapist, that when you have that energetic shift, whether it's a physical therapy or whether it's something on an energetic level, you do need to drink water, because there's lots changing within your body. So yes, that helps, and you're just clearing out the old energy as well, and stimulating the body. I've had people just keep saying wow for about 15 minutes.
Fabulous. I love it.
Which is lovely. And I've also had people say they've had crystal therapy before, but they've never had what I do.
Yeah.
And everybody's different.
Yeah.
I'm not decrying anyone at all, because I've been doing this for a number of years, and I look after my crystals, and the crystals work really, really well with me. And it's the same when I'm selling. I sell crystals also, and people will say to me again, your crystals are different.
Yeah.
And I do source them ethically. I have a great supplier, and they know who their suppliers are, because nowadays, like anything, there's lots of things that are not ethically mined or sustainable. So I'm very fortunate. I have an excellent supplier, and my crystals are of good quality.
That's fantastic. And after say, for example, Joe Bloggs goes for a treatment, and well, I love the wow factor afterwards. I love that, because I know there's lots of different therapists out there, but when something comes from the heart, and that's how I know from yourself, Joan, and as a therapist myself, if it doesn't come from the heart, it doesn't come 100%, and that's why you get the reactions you do after treatment, and I love that. What I was going to say was, when people or having the treatment with you, and they come out the other side, and is there anybody that wants to buy crystals there and then can they buy them from you?
Yes, they can do. Quite often I will give you a crystal gift, just a little tumblestone away with you, which I will have chosen intuitively, just to carry with you for the coming days, or maybe to keep in your workplace or keep in your computer, just depending. So yes, I will do that. I want to share this story, and it was a few years ago. A young woman came to me, and she was extremely anxious and not confident, and she just started college, and she had to do a talk at the end of the week, and she was in bits. I can't talk, and she really wasn't confident at all. And I did one session with her, and she messaged me, and I did it on the Monday or the Tuesday, and she messaged me on the Friday to say that she stood up in class and spoke out and did a talk. And I was
goodness.
Like,
yeah, exactly. The powers in the crystals, we love it. And also, do you find as well, this is more with reference to what we've been going through with this crazy world we're living in at the moment, the pandemic, how there's more and more people tuning into natural energies more? Is there more and more people? Obviously, the mental health aspect is getting really turned upside down. Do you find people are now coming towards the natural stones like crystals for help?
There's been an increase actually in the last 3 to 4 years, like quite a huge increase in people seeking out alternatives.
Yeah.
And that's huge. And I think the more and more that we come out of this, people will be thinking on an energetic level more.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, and I mean, like everyone, I can't believe it's been like 18 months and a bit more. But if you think about when we were first in lockdown, how quiet, how serene it was. Yes, it was very frightening, but there was a stillness to the world that has never been there since, like, maybe I was a child, and maybe even before that. And people have gone out more, and they've walked and different things. Not everyone, because everybody's been in the same ocean, but we've not all been in the same boat during COVID.
Love it.
So everyone has had a different experience. But going forward, people, I think, and hope, will be much more aware of their physical and mental health. It's so precious to us.
Absolutely.
And we have pushed and pushed for years in work, and given blood in our work, basically. You know, we've given our absolute all, and actually we need to recognise, no, it's a job.
Yeah.
We don't live to work. You know, it's the other way around. We work to live.
Yeah.
So it's getting that balance, and that's what the crystals do. They bring you back into balance. And that's so important, because so often we are out of balance, we're stressed, we're over anxious, we've got aches and pains, which quite often can be energetically driven.
Yeah.
Because we hold our emotions within our body, we hold our anger within our body, we hold our rage, we hold our grief in our body, and it can become stuck energy. And when you come for a treatment, what I'm doing is releasing the energetic blocks that are held within you, both in your physical body and in your auric field.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. I could talk for hours about this subject because it's so fascinating. And you know, I think in your position, Joan, where you are seeing Joe Bloggs, etc., clients coming through the door and changing people's lives for the better, it can only bring us further and further out into this beautiful world that we actually live in. And I think there needs to be more and more people like Joan.
Thank you. You did say something. Can I go back to something you asked me about charging crystals in the moon and different things?
Yeah.
Charging crystals in the moon is okay if that's what you believe, because energy follows thought. So whatever you're thinking, the energy will go there. And that's why it's so important to be very conscious of your thoughts. So if you put a crystal in the moonlight to charge it, that's what will happen. But bearing in mind, we only get a full moon once every 28 days approximately. So the full moon energy is the moon energy, which is considered more gentle, but also can be quite emotional, charging the crystal. I personally would use sunlight, and all you need is half an hour just to keep the energy into it. There are occasions where I do use both, but I go with my intuition. But charging crystals, I would only put them in direct sunlight for half an hour, because a lot of crystals will fade. So you're careful. So I don't have a lot of my crystals in direct sunlight all the time, because something like this, if you put it in direct sunlight and you get different shades of amethyst so that it's like really dark purple, it would fade, and it would bleach, and then suddenly it's not the colour that it was when you bought it. And you think, oh, look what happened there. So the sun can leach the colour out of it.
Interesting.
So yes.
And just going back to that moonlight, or if people want to put them in the moonlight, and you're talking the full moon, etc., is there any difference on the different kinds of moons? I know I might be going off track a little bit here.
No. Just think of the moon and its crescents. So when you go into a new moon, the new moon isn't actually present until they're about the third day. So you're putting them into the energy of the moon that physically can't be seen, and then the first crescent of the moon appears. So it's up to you. I don't want to go too much down because that's a whole different story. That's probably a podcast on its own.
Exactly.
But you get the moon where it's releasing energy and when it's bringing in energy. So new moons bring in energy, and when the moon's and then it peaks at the full moon, and then after that it's releasing energy. So you could harness that energy within your crystals for what you're wanting to use them for. But by and large, I would use a full moon, because it's at its zenith at that point.
Oh, that's fantastic. It is super interesting to learn more and more about crystals and how they can help each other. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, Joan runs courses and also certain workshops within the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in Edinburgh, and these all also can be found on the website, which is at the end on the show notes. But also Joan has got some in-persons in Cumbria and in Dumfries and Galloway. We've got a market connection stall on the 24th of July, which is a Saturday, and then we have Penrith on the 14th of August, and then back in the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre in August the 28th. These are all on the website for any connections to do with crystals, and any advice anybody wants, they can certainly get in touch with Joan.
Oh, absolutely. I'm down at the Courtyard Market in Annan on the 4th of July selling crystals. And I love when people talk to me about them. And I love intuitively choosing crystals for people. And quite often I will tell you why you bought it.
Well, you see, that's the side that I think is fascinating, because not just are you, I'm going to put this a huge title above, a therapist, but you have the psychic and a medium development behind you. And that just brings a brand new light on the whole emphasis of a therapist. You're not just a therapist. I don't like that word. And I think that's what makes you a super important person.
Oh, thank you. So when you buy a crystal from me, I will clear it for you. It's already cleared when you've bought it. And I put some healing energy into it to activate the crystal for you. So when you buy a crystal from me, it's a little bit different. And I also give you like a little slip of paper, which tells you the name of the crystals and some of the properties of it. And people always go, oh, because they read it and they go, oh, that's why I bought it.
Yeah. It's fascinating world. And I know this is roughly about a half an hour podcast, but I could talk for hours. Joan will be back, where I would like to bring Joan back to talk about Reiki, sound practitioner work, and also healing energy. And these are for new podcasts that will be coming out in the future, just to give you another insight into both Joan's work and the fabulous therapies that she does. Joan, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your crystals for this podcast today. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a joy. And can I just say to yourself and to anyone listening, crystal blessings to all of you, because they are such beautiful things and they have a consciousness just like us.
Perfect. Oh, Joan, that's fabulous. Thank you so much for all your time, and we'll speak soon. Take care.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Right Balance podcast. Hope you enjoyed the content. Please tell your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to the show. It will also be uploaded to the social media channels like Facebook and YouTube, including all the show notes. I hope you'll join me next week. Stay safe.